coaches in Japan.
It's going to be an extremely technical fight, this one.
Interesting that both corners, in talking to them before the fight, they, especially Carlos Newton's trainer, Terry Riggs, he said he's still waiting for Carlos to show his stand-up skills, which he says are proficient, but I think everyone, including everyone here at this table, are anticipating this one is going to go to the ground quick.
Yes, I believe so, but we can expect some stand-up, I think, because Carlos is going to be looking to hit him, I think.
Carlos Newton coming off what he calls a very listless effort at UFC 46, losing to Renato Verissimo.
One thing to notice here is that Yakase is a southpaw, and sometimes people don't get a lot of practice against southpaws in the gym, so we'll see how Newton handles that.
We don't want to take away anything from
Yakase is looking for the floor right away.
But in that fight,
there was a beautiful reverse from Carlos Newton.
Good hips by Newton there. Kept his hips in, got the reversal.
And get the top position.
And this already is more like the Carlos Newton fight fans are used to seeing.
Definitely, but one of the strongest positions that Yakase has is the guard position. If you realize he's very flexible.
Yakase now has recovered his guard fully here.
Yakase, a grappling machine in the gym, one of the premier grapplers in Japan, taking on one of the premier grapplers the world over in Carlos Newton. And we can harken back, Henzo, to even Pride #3, where he made his debut, losing by knee bar submission to Kazushi Sakuraba in what many call one of the best bouts in Pride's early history, and that was definitely
that was a
display.
great fight. And it's like they were not even trying to hit each other, if you remember that. They were looking for submissions after submission.
And we've mentioned it already, but you and Carlos also put on a tremendous display of your ground game skills, and right now we see Carlos in Takase's guard, Matt.
He's in the guard. The guard is closed right now. Takase holding the head. Takase is moving on the arm. He's going for the arm. Now he's opened his guard.
See how
he's going for the triangle, but the glove is inside the triangle. If he pulls his arm out of there, he's in trouble. Oh, now he's going for the omoplata.
Shoulder lock, the omoplata. But one thing that makes Newton so amazing is his escapes from submissions.
He's a very flexible guy. His joints are able to take a lot of strength. So you could see there, his arm was overextended, and he's still able to hang in there and manage to get out.
There were 2 occasions in your bout with Carlos, Henzo, where all of us thought that you had him submitted.
Yeah, I was trying to give him some love, but it wasn't that time.
The knee bar especially, but here we see back in the guard, and Newton now going to the body and upstairs.
And you can see right away this is going to be a great fight too.
No worries about laying and praying in this one. 2 great ground competitors.
And you can see the Newton improve his takedowns. Like every time he was almost on his back and he was able to reverse and change. This shows that he's been training takedowns a lot. And they're definitely working.
Takase's appeared on every Bushido card, losing to Rodrigo Gracie at #1, beating Chris Brennan at #2, both fights going the distance. And while he went the distance and defeated Brennan, even Yakase not very pleased with his inability to finish Brennan.
He's a very tough guy. He has an attitude that sometimes looks very cocky, but it's not. He has an eyesight problem that sometimes make him look with his nose up. They told me that he has a great personality and is a great athlete.
Just like the personality of Renzo Gracie, who's joining Matt Hume and myself here at ringside. And Matt,
Now Takase's got the arm underneath the leg to give him some angle here.
He's in a little danger for the fact that the arms can be caught there. And now it's out. But once you place your hand there, you gotta be caught. Your hand can be caught there, and your face is open.
Yeah, you can't defend with that hand.
So you can't defend. So it's a very dangerous place to place your hand. You have to try it. It didn't work. Your hand must be right away out of there.
And in trying to post up and posture here, Newton has surrendered his arm on more than one occasion. Now, though, those nasty body shots by Newton taking their toll on Yakase.
Newton looks content here to stay inside the guard for now and punch. Oh, there's the triangle.
You have to understand, he has the flexibility to bring the knees almost to his ear. So he's very dangerous in terms of arm lock attacks and triangle. This becomes more evident if Newton starts to get gas out. If he starts gassing out, he's going to have troubles on Takase's guard. So he has to be very careful there. And that's exactly the game that Yakase won.
We expected a sublime ground battle, and we are seeing the early stages of that right now between Carlos Newton and Daijyu Yakase. What can Yakase do here from the bottom, guys, to try to reverse the situation?
Well, he's got his guard closed, so he's flat on his back. If he wants to reverse, he needs to open up that guard and start moving, moving his hips out to the side, get out to the side of an arm, or try to sweep the legs.
Right now, he's mostly in a defensive position, just trying to defend and probably tire Newton a little, so he can try to his work.
But he's staying busy underneath, though, and has had some submission attempts.
I think he's trying to wait for Newton to pull out of the guard so he can come high on the shoulders and get his triangle.
Definitely. That's what he's looking for right now.
The action in the corner now, and there you see Yakase again underneath the leg.
And if you realize, every time he places his hand there, he gets hit.
Yes.
Well, he's exposing himself, definitely, and Carlos Newton busy with those shots.
We saw Fedor use that technique, but as soon as he grabbed the leg, he set the armbar in.
You have to go right away. If that fails, your hand gets caught there. It's always, you're going to get a few hits before you're able to pull your arm out.
They remain
There comes his leg
active.
again. That's what I'm saying. Look,
Slips out.
that was a good escape from Newton and a very nice attack from
Newton trying to go through the guard, but unsuccessful. Good body shot there by Newton.
Newton definitely looking better than the last time we saw him.
stronger,
In North America.
looking much stronger than the last time. I happened to watch the fight too,
And he did have extraneous circumstances surrounding that fight. He doesn't want to use any excuses. Renato Verissimo, a great fighter, and full measure for the victory. But Carlos Newton definitely looking like the Carlos Newton of old here in this one. But Daijyu Yakase doing a good job right now of just defending and not giving Newton much of an opportunity to do much offensively.
Carlos may be waiting for Yakase to open his
to
guard
open,
up.
yes, and he's not doing. Like, that's one of the problems with Yakase's fight. He normally he's very defensive, and his legs are very flexible. His guard is very good.
I was just going to say, even if it stays this way, then the referee, I think, doing the right thing.
has to give a break.
Now, there's going to be a yellow card issued here because since they're on the ground and it was broken.
And the new card is red, actually.
Red card?
Yeah, it's actually red. They changed it.
Okay.
It's not yellow anymore. It's red. It means the same thing as the yellow.
Now, he awarded it to both fighters. That was a double stall warning on both fighters.
And again, here in Bushido, because of the shortened matchups, 1 10-minute round, 1 5-minute round, good takedown sprawl there by Noonan. Nice
That was
uppercut.
a beautiful punch.
We should mention, you guys, that they are going to be a
good
lot
knee.
more yellow cards because they want the action to continue at a faster
Yakase,
pace.
oh, that was beautiful. And I almost landed a triangle.
A nice attempt at a monkey flip kick by Yakase and almost landed.
Newton realized that he's fighting much better standing than Yakase. Yakase is showing a little signs of tiredness.
You think that's a good strategy?
So he's looking like probably to knock out.
And that time he ends up in the guard.
Now we'll see how Newton works from the bottom and Yakase from the top.
First time we've seen Carlos Newton in the bottom position. Yakase, again, this is where he did have trouble, however, with Chris Brennan. A lot of people, the one criticism for
but even that was beautiful reverse.
Very nice.
Beautiful reverse.
Now if he pushes that foot out
That
of
was
the
a
way, he can
half
pass
guard
guard.
sweep. Unbelievable.
A lot of people feel that Yakase doesn't show the same intensity that he does in the gym as when he competes here in Pride, and maybe that was a case of it right there as he finds himself back on the bottom.
Newton definitely looking much stronger than the last time I saw him fighting. Much better coordinate, standing much better on his takedowns, making a very smart fight.
Setting up a triangle here again. It's Yakase,
There he
but
comes, his
too
legs
high.
up.
Very good flexibility by Yakase. Hinzo, what's that called when the guard comes up that high and he grabs his own foot? Is there a special name for that type of guard?
Yeah, normally that's a setup for shoulder lock or triangle. It's like the problem with the ground fighting, you normally don't have a name for nothing. You just say, bring the leg up. So that move is bring your leg up and try the shoulder lock.
I agree with Carlos' corner, Terry Riggs' trainer, telling him to perhaps just push his palms down on the gut, break open the guard. I'm surprised a lot more fighters don't elect to do that, Henzo, when it comes to try to breaking the guard, is using...
Yeah, it's hard to break open Yakase's guard.
If you drive the air out of his lungs, that may force it.
Definitely that would be a good option.
what Carlos wants to do is he wants to posture himself up. He's leaving his body down on Yakase right now because Carlos is trying to come through the guard. He's trying to pop the knee up and come through the guard. He's made a few attempts previously at that. But with the guard closed, it's hard to get that space to get his knee up inside.
Now he's trying to do just that.
Now, if Carlos postures himself up, he'll have a better chance of opening up the guard. Now he's trying to catch the arm underneath now. Carlos has the underhook with his left arm, and he's trying to push the wrist down on the other side to pin it behind the back so he can punch from there.
Into the final 60 seconds of this round between Carlos Newton and Daijyu Yakase. How would you guys score to this point right now, Henzo?
I really believe Newton is winning up to now.
Newton's doing well. He's controlling a little more of the pace.
Better control. His hits, like his punches, is being landing more.
The effort to finish.
More accurate, yes.
The effort to finish, I think, is fairly even right now. The damage has been minor so far, so we have to look down at the aggressiveness factor.
Yakase, without a doubt, is attacking a lot from his guard.
You say that the efforts to finish have been even. I'm thinking that the Yakase might hold a slight edge there, though, Matt. He's going for the submission attempts a lot more.
He's going for attempts, but
telling him to get up.
They're not really close.
Yakase's avoiding the stand-up fighting. The round is over.
And again, we anticipated a ground matchup, and that's what we got in the opening round between Yakase and Carlos the Ronin Newton. And if you guys were in Newton's corner right now, let's actually pick a corner here. Matt, you tell me what Carlos Newton's corner should be telling him, and then Henzo, you tell me what Yakase's corner should be telling him.
If I was in Carlos Newton's corner, I would say, you know, the fight's stalling a lot on the ground. Let's keep it on the feet. You're working better on the feet. You're showing an advantage there. Try to work the feet. Okay, and Henzo, what should Yakase's corner be telling him?
I believe that they should have tell him to put him down and try to really keep the top position and look to score. Like up to now, the fight doesn't look good to him for the fact that he's playing mostly defensive. Even though he had great attacks from the bottom, he had a chance of a shoulder lock, but every time Newton was able to reverse and get on the top again and impose his game. So he really shouldn't be looking forward to end up on the top and really keep his game, trying to finish. I can't see him right now trying to knock him out. It's going to be very hard for Yakase to knock Newton out. So his goal is probably a submission.
Now, at this point, the fight is fairly even, and the referees may just decide to scrap that first round, the things that have gone on, and just say from this point forward, since the fight is even at this point, whoever does better.
I believe this next 5 minutes will be the deciding one.
For sure, and the amount of respect between these two fighters is palpable. Yakase calling Newton a brilliant fighter, while Newton holds nothing but extreme respect for Yakase, again, one of the premier grapplers in Japan. Here we go with the final 5-minute round, Bushido 3 between Yakase and Newton. And it was interesting to hear Yakase tell us during the pre-fight interviews that he wouldn't mind a stand-up battle with Carlos, but prefers the ground game. And talking with Carlos' corner, he says he wants Carlos to showcase his stand-up skills. But we go back to the ground right away.
Oh.
Dangerous situation. You realize how easy his legs come up. So in one of those takedowns, definitely Newton can end up in a triangle and an arm lock. You got to be very careful.
You saw that takedown was initiated by Yakase, but as they went down, Newton
was able to reverse.
Yes.
Newton is showing himself in extremely good shape. He's able to get out of a weird situation when actually he should have been on the bottom.
Driving his chin into the upper chest area, Yakase trying to frustrate him, make things uncomfortable there on the bottom.
And I definitely think like the fact that Newton is able to reverse every time, that is surprising Yakase a lot. Because every time he gets the top position, he thinks he's going to get a little break. Newton is able to reverse and start all over again.
They're going to bring him back to the center here.
We're definitely going to see the winner coming out of this one on the following 4 minutes and a half.
And then break down with your weight.
Carlos' corner, Terry Riggs, imploring him to posture up and then break down with his weight. What does that exactly mean, Matt?
Well, the posturing is something that he should be doing. I'm not sure what he means by coming down with his weight. I would be telling him to move back while he's postured up, to open the guard up and to step out and get back to his feet here.
All right, let's see if they want to exchange here.
Newton should throw the right hand. He just did it. Newton should continue to throw the right hand. He should stay outside the lead leg.
Takase landed a beautiful
It was
uppercut.
a beautiful shot. And man, we're seeing a little bit of everything here.
That was unbelievable, Takase. A beautiful uppercut shot. He landed straight. Newton was angry right away.
Now,
As soon as he got a hit, he was looking forward to pay back with
Newton
another
wants to
uppercut.
take this standing up.
Newton is controlling the takedowns in this fight by reversing when Takase tries to take him down and also scoring the takedowns here. So that may be a factor that gives him this if everything else remains close.
Definitely. Action can is open, my friend. Here we watch. This has been a great fight up to now.
But is Newton doing enough from where he is right now to gain judges' favor, you guys? It looks like Takase at times seems busier on the bottom than Newton is on top.
It's like the other one. It's a tough one to say who won actually up to now.
What would you guys, like, is Newton doing what you guys would want him to do if he was your
If the
fighter?
fight definitely was over now, I would give to Newton.
Yeah,
I would give to him.
I would probably give it to Newton right now, but if I was in Newton's corner, I would be telling him to back out of the guard, to really posture up and try hard to get out of the guard, get back to his feet where he can score.
It doesn't really look to me as if Newton is right now trying to fight to finish.
Yeah, he definitely knows his opponent. He knows his guard is extremely good. So he's avoiding actually the work of trying to pass.
But is it a case of maybe having too much respect for your opponent, knowing that now time is
I do
running
believe
out?
so. He should actually be really showing work there to guarantee his place in the first place, you know?
3分経過 3 minutes to go.
We are into our final 2 minutes of action between Carlos Newton and Daijyu Yakase. It is ground warfare, and right now Newton in the
That was a
position.
bad call from the ref because actually Takashi was attacking the arm and he told him to stop, to get up.
He gave a stall. Oh, he's giving both of them
ただいま
another
日本
card.
選手に警告が出されました。
And I'm
到着を誘発する動きを
not
した選手に
really too surprised, knowing the caliber of these two grapplers and what we really anticipate. It's been a good fight, but I expected to see more from Carlos Newton on the ground. Nice kick there.
Takase doesn't seem to want to stand at all right now with Newton.
Newton with a knee.
Oh!
Another nice knee.
Good knee. Oh, almost a
Grip
throw.
takedown, and there's balls
Takase
back into the
jumping to
guard.
guard.
There was an exchange of rainmakers and they land. It's unbelievable. They found a spot.
It's ironic that Newton appears more damaging standing up than he does right now on the ground, you guys.
Well, I don't think the damage is going to really play a factor here on the judges' scorecards, and I don't think the effort to finish is going to play a factor on the judges' scorecards. I think the lower criteria in the takedowns being dominated by Newton and in the combinations on the feet being better by Newton, and Takase, when they're on the feet, not showing any aggressiveness. I think those are the factors that may sway it for Newton.
Bring up a good point. Matt Hume, the judge, joining us here tonight, along with Renzo Gracie.
There you go. You have
Pass
the
the
chance to
guard
pass
there.
now.
Should kick.
Good for a leg lock attempt.
That was a
Don't-
beautiful push. That was a beautiful push from Newton.
There doesn't appear to be the intensity that one would expect, though, with into the final minute here. The corner of Newton is imploring him to work.
Definitely. That's a problem when you fight Takase. Takase is a very defensive fighter. Even though he puts those shots from the guard, when he's not trying to attack, all that he does is lock the guard and make it very hard
So
for you.
is this a case then, Matt and Renzo, of it being more Takase's style that is not allowing Carlos Newton to do what he wants to do?
Definitely,
or-
definitely. It's like he probably felt in danger every time he tried something. That's when probably Takase was able to pull out something.
And part of the reason I believe is because Newton respects Takase's skill, and he doesn't want to make a mistake. So he's not really trying to force the guard open because he knows Takase is just waiting for him to back out so he can put that triangle on.
Well, the fight is over, and it will go to the judges' scorecards. From the comments of our experts here, Matt Hume and Renzo Gracie, looks as if you guys are going to give this to Carlos Newton, and I guess most of the fans tend to agree. Let's go back to the replays here. Go ahead, Renzo.
Left hook, but
Left hook and an uppercut, strong uppercut. That's what they wanted. Takase almost landed.
saw Newton using his shoulder well there when they.
That was the uppercut. it made Newton very angry after that, and he really looked forward to land his. It was a very interesting match, very good from both fighters, and let's see who the judges will give the victory to.
Two superbly conditioned athletes, and now we await the judge's decision.
Judge forever, Carlos. Judge Wada, Takase.
Wow. Interesting.
Judge Miyake, Takase.
Daijyu Yakase, split decision, you guys, and this is...